Hi everybody, welcome or welcome back to the channel. My name's Nicole and this is Dusty Book Sniffers, and today we're here for week 1 and what I got read off my TBR cart. So let's get started. Good morning everybody. It is July 1st and I decided that I am going to tackle as you would have seen in my TBR video, that I'm going to tackle my TBR cart. So this has, if you didn't catch that video, this has stuff that I've been reading or supposed to be reading in the first half of the month. Then I've also got the 12 classics, and then I've got Buzzwordathon, both covers and words. So I have all those books picked out. It is first thing on July 1st, so I've just got out of bed, although be a little bit late. The sun is shining today, which is absolutely fantastic. I've got a bit of housework to do, and I've also got some Libby chicken to do as well. So as a lot of you know, I actually like to start reading my books in the physical, and then if I'm really into the story, I'll continue that on with a audiobook while I'm going about my work day, because I work from home. But today it is a cold day. Even though the sun is out, it's still quite windy outside, so it's not really nice to sit outside. So I'm going to curl up in bed. It's a Tuesday morning. I generally do a little bit of editing and all that sort of stuff, but I'm actually going to be doing that tomorrow because I'm going to borrow my partner's computer to do that, because I have a lot of editing to get done and I'll only get partially the way through. So my goal this month is to try and read as much as I can off my TBR cart, whether that's 2 books or 15 books. Who knows what it's going to be, because my life is pretty hectic at the moment. But I do have a book that I have on Libby that I borrowed that I wanted to get to in June. And I don't know why I borrowed it in June, because the simple fact was I was doing boot camp readathon, and that video is coming with my wrap up for that. So I wasn't too sure why I borrowed this, but anyway, it is on my Libby. I've got 13 hours to get it read at the current speed that I read it at. I should be finishing that within about 6 hours, 7 hours, because I do like to have the audio. So today what I'm going to do is do my next favorite thing, and that is immersively read it. And that means that I'm going to be reading along while it's playing in my ear. So I tend to read it at a little bit of a speed, not at one time speed, because I read faster than what they're talking at one time speed. So I just match that to my reading speed, and that's what I'll read it at. So I've got my coffee set up in my bedroom, which is the door that you can see with the Tree of Life in the background. I have my heater on in there, my little oil heater, so I'm going to curl up for the day and get that done, and then I'll do a little bit of editing this afternoon. But the book, you're probably wondering, okay, so we know what you're doing now, woman. What book are you reading? All right, I am reading book 3 in a series, so I'm working on a series as well, and that is the Perils of Lady Catherine de Bourgh. So this is by Claudia Gray, and this is the Tilney and Darcy mystery series. The first one, I think Leandra actually, yeah, it was Leandra that put me onto this series last year, maybe, whenever The Murder of Mr. Wickham came out, which is the first one. And I can't remember the name of the second one, but I have read it. But this is the third one, and I absolutely love Claudia Gray's writing style and just her whimsical way of using the characters from Jane Austen books in a mystery series. And Darcy and Tilney are the children of the Tilneys and the Darcys. So the Darcys, if you remember correctly, if you've read anything from Jane Austen, you know that the Darcys are from Pride and Prejudice, and if memory serves me correctly, which I'm not real good with remembering who's who in each book and all that sort of stuff, I'm pretty sure that the Tilneys are in Northanger Abbey. And that, I will have to fact check that, but I'm pretty sure that that is the case. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments down below. But this one is someone is trying to kill Lady Catherine de Bourgh, esteemed aunt of Mr. Fitzwilliam Darcy and generous patroness of William Collins, a woman of rank who rules over the estate of Rosling Park with an unimpeachable sense of priority. So who would dare to kill a Lady Catherine. And so she summons her great nephew, Jonathan Darcy, with his investigative companion, Juliet Tilney, to find out who is trying to kill her. And they have had a year apart from each other, and they're thrilled to be reunited in this latest mystery. And I'm just going to leave it there because I'm going to talk about the book anyway. So yeah, so that is the one that I'm going to try and get off my TBR today. I absolutely love, as I said, Claudia Gray, and I'm looking forward to getting more of Claudia Gray books. I've been keeping an eye out because I've been trying not to spend any money on full price books and that, so I've been trying to find them secondhand, and I've just had no luck here in Australia. So I'm just trying to find her list of books that she has. I'm sure I did see it. There it is. So there are a lot of books in here. So the late Mrs. Willoughby was the second book that I read. So I'm just using my selfie stick at the moment. We also have some graphic novels from this author, and Constellation series, Defy Stars, Worlds and Fates. We also have a Star Wars series here. This is Journey to Star Wars, A Force Awakens, A Lost Stars Bloodline. And this one looks like that it has like High Priestess and Republics and all that sort of stuff. There's the Firebird series, then there's the Spellcaster series, Evernight series, and standalones we have Fateful and the Haunted Mansion of Storm and Shade. I can't talk, evidently, first thing in the morning and can't string a sentence together. So I'm sorry about that really messy string of words there. But anyway, you get what I'm trying to say. But so there are a lot of books that I want to get to because I just love Claudia's way of telling a story, and I really enjoy their books so far. So I'm going to get stuck into that, and hopefully I will pop in from time to time. It'll be the general thing that we do. I read 100 pages, check in, tell you how I'm enjoying it, and then I do a little bit of a wrap up. So I'm going to do that for as many books that I can get read this month. And I hope that you enjoy this little vlog series that I'm going to have for the month of July. And I will see you in the next check-in. Everybody, how are you going today? So I'm sitting down on the floor. I'm down on the floor because the simple fact is that I was just filming my TBR video, and I want to talk about the perils of Lady Catherine de Bourgh. So this, for those that don't know, these books from Claudia Gray are set around the villains or the not liked characters from Jane Austen's world. So this one has got Lady Catherine de Bourgh, and I for the life of me cannot remember what book she is in, but I remember her being a pain in the backside. She basically is very opinionated in all the things. Well, someone is trying to bump her off. We have a little bit of a subplot that's driving, well, not subplot, but we have an event that's going to be happening that is causing this person to react the way they are reacting. So we have had several attempts on Lady Catherine, and she has decided that she is going to call in her great nephew, which is Mr. Darcy, Jonathan Darcy, the young Mr. Darcy, and also sent a letter to what's her name? Juliet Tilney. And basically they are back together again, and they're trying to work out who is trying to kill Lady Catherine. And Lady Catherine does not do herself any favours either. So this one is a little bit different from the first two in the series. The first two in the series were definitely murder mysteries. We had the death of Mr. Wickham. He was murdered, Mr. Wickham. And then we had a death of Mrs. Willoughby. This one, we have Lady Catherine, who's very much alive. So the two sleuths in this are working their magic and trying to figure out. They don't have any sort of idea how to do this. So they've come together again. They're very happy to see one another, which is absolutely fantastic. There's this little under little bubbling happening between Jonathan and Juliet. But, you know, of course, it is set in the 1800s. We're in 1821, and, you know, the sign of the times, the parents very much have a say in who is marrying whom and all the things that go with that, and, you know, looking for the most suitable marriage possible. So there is a lot of talk about, you know, young women and what is expected of them and how they must marry good and all that sort of stuff. But Juliet is a little bit different. She's a little bit driven. She's a little bit independent. She likes to travel, and she has a soft spot for Jonathan. And if this was written today, I would say that Jonathan is probably on the spectrum, autism spectrum. And so he has to learn how to navigate the world when things overwhelm him and all that sort of stuff. And Juliet is very compassionate towards him because she knows this about him, and she has learnt this about him, and they feel like they're really good friends. He's very excited, but he doesn't know how to court her or anything like that, but he really wants to, and she really wants him to. But of course, you know, the families are interfering, and of course Mr. Darcy is still a dick around this around this topic, this Mr. Darcy that was in Pride and Prejudice, so Jonathan's father. And Mr. Tilney is, you know, he is fun-loving as always, and, you know, tries to provoke Mr. Darcy a little bit. And, yeah, but he doesn't think it's a good match either. But Elizabeth thinks they're perfect for one another. So there is a little bit of talk in that. It is not the main plot of the book. The main plot is the mystery, but they've got these little underlying things because their relationship is developing, and so it's been slowly building throughout the books. I think that they're really well done. I really enjoy my time anytime I'm with these books. I have given Mr. Wickham 5 stars, Willoughby I think it was 4. This one I'm sitting at a 4-star as well. So they're decent reads. I get a lot of vibe. I love the banter between the two main characters as well. And of course, we have those villains from the Jane Austen world as well, all the people that weren't very liked. So I have given this 4 stars, and I'm super glad that it is off my TBR cart because I'm doing the TBR cart challenge this month for myself. Okay, so that book is now done. I can put that back on the shelf. Still trying to work out a system that I can mark the books in a way that I can see on my shelf that I've already read them and all the things. All right, the next book that was calling to me, and this has been calling to me for the last couple of months, and that is The 7 Skins of Esther Wilding. And as you can see, I have already started it. I'm up to chapter 5, page 37. It's reading pretty quick. I only read for about half an hour last night and got to that, which is not too shabby. This is by Holly Ringland. Now, you may not have heard of Holly Ringland before, or you may have heard of the book called The Lost Flowers of Alice Hart. Now, I read that back in 2023. Absolutely adored that book. It was a 5-star read, and I subsequently went and purchased this book straight away. And I just love these covers. It's got a little bit of foiling on it, and it's got beautiful Australian flowers at the top, and then we've got some sea creatures and coral and all that sort of stuff down the bottom. This is following the story of Esther Wilding. She's the younger sister to Aura. And Aura, 12 months ago, when we open up the book, where 12 months past the major event that happened to Esther and her family, and that was the disappearance of Aura. So she walked into the ocean and was never seen again. Now, I've read 37 pages, as I said, and it is alluding to the fact that there may have been some sort of trauma that has happened to Aura that has caused her to essentially unalive herself. That's the vibe I'm getting, that she actually unalived herself. It wasn't an accident. So we're fast forwarded from that event. We know that event happened, but when we open up the book and the opening chapters, we're with Esther, and she's driving back home because it's 12 months later, and her family have organized a memorial service because it's been 12 months. The coroner has ruled it an open case, not an open case, open findings, which means there is nothing to tell because there is no body to examine. So they've been to the court. They're now able to move forward. So we are with Esther. She's driving her car, her ute. She's heading back home. She's reluctant to get back home. This is also set in Tasmania here in Australia. I'm pretty sure it was Tasmania. Yes, Tasmania. In Lutteritwa, I think is how you pronounce it. I'm terrible. It's definitely an Indigenous name that I cannot get my tongue around. But there's a little bit of folklore in this as well, because she, when she arrives, and this happens very much in the beginning of the book, she's reflecting as she's driving along. She sees the sunset, and it reminds her of her sister and how her sister felt. And her sister always had this sparkle. And she went to Denmark, and when she came back from Denmark, she had lost her sparkle and subsequently had gone missing. She was 30 when she went missing, which doesn't lessen the blow any. And Esther had always looked up to her and her friends, and always wanted to be around her, and just idolized her sister. So she's really struggling with it after the disappearance, and they closed the case. That's called off the search. Basically, Esther left and hadn't been back, so this is the first time she's back. So there's that angst there and whatnot. And I just love Holly's writing. It's just so beautiful, and it just flows really well. She grabs you and she pulls you straight into the story, with little tidbits along the way, knowing that something more is going to come from this book in the way of folklore and whatnot. So we've had she had an accident on the way home, not that she was seriously injured, but a swan had dropped out, essentially, as she described it, dropped out of the sky and into her windscreen, and she got hurt, like bumped her head and all that sort of stuff. And Aura's best friend found her on the side of the road, a little bit disorientated and all the rest of it, and helped her to get back home. So we're just at the memorial party now, where I'm at in chapter 5. So, and we've been having a little bit of flipping backwards and forwards, so it's been really good so far. And I have been wanting to read this for so long, and I've just been putting it off because I wanted it to have it where I had a day where I could just sit down and absorb myself in it. And that day is today, and that's why I pulled it off my shelf. There is no rhyme or reason to how I'm pulling these off the TBR cart, but this one was for an alliteration in the words for the Seven Skins part of it. So that was for Buzzwordathon, and also my most anticipated book, because I only got this towards the end of last year when I picked it up. Was it? No, I got it at the beginning of last year. So just a little whiles after I finished the Alice Hart one. So I am looking forward to moving on with that. And, of course, I am using a witchy bookmark that I made for myself. This is absolutely cute. And one of my favourite fabrics that I had. So I'm going to keep going with that today and get stuck into that. I'm glad that I've been able to talk to you about the perils of Lady Catherine as well. So far so good. So my plan this month is to get every second day, excluding weekends, to because I've been spending a lot of time with family and friends and traveling and going to stitching and all that sort of stuff, although I didn't go last month because my car was playing up again. So I've been trying to do things on weekends, and of course I'm back to doing Patreon this month as well, so I've got to slot that in as well. So I'm going to check out for now, and I will be back with probably the finish of this book and what I thought about it. And I hope that you are enjoying the vlog so far. Leave me, if you haven't already done so, leave me a comment. Have you read anything by Claudia Gray before? Because Claudia Gray has got a lot of books, and what your thoughts were. And if you have read this one, if it was a yay or nay, no spoilers, just a yay or nay so far. And I will be back in a nanosecond with my wrap up. Hi everybody, and welcome back. All right, it's a couple of days later, and I have finished Seven Skins of Esther Wilding by Holly Ringland. And when I talked about this before, as I said to you, it's a story of sisterly love, like your ancestors and all that sort of stuff, and it's got a little bit of folklore tied into it around the Selkies. So the Seven Skins is referring to the journey that Esther is going on, and basically that journey that she's going on is to find out about what happened to her sister and why her sister was, that she's gone missing and no one knows what happened to her. All they know is that she walked into the ocean, so they never found her body or anything like that. There's some heavy topics in this book, so surrounding a loss of a child, stillborn, and also miscarriage. So just be aware that there is some talk of that. There's not a lot of talk about it, and it is towards the center, from the center onwards, because Esther is on a journey to find out about her sister. And her parents have asked her to go to Copenhagen because Copenhagen was the catalyst for her to come home. She was gone for 3 years. She went there to study and all that sort of stuff. And then she come home and she was definitely changed. And there's a series of tattoos that she has got on her body that have significance to Aura, and Esther didn't know about these tattoos or anything like that. And Aura did reach out to Esther to meet her on the day that she disappeared, and Esther didn't go. And so Esther's carrying a lot of guilt and shame around that, as she feels like if she had have gone, then she wouldn't have disappeared and all that sort of stuff. So there is a lot of guilt, and we learn all this very early on in the book. So there, as I said earlier, there is an opening where with Esther, that's where we meet her, and basically she's on her way to her sister's memorial, and all of this sort of stuff. So Esther feels like that when her sister came back from Copenhagen, there was a distance between them and she couldn't understand why. And Esther was really close to her sister. They idolized each other, and they always did things together and all that sort of stuff. So it was very hard for Esther to see this side of Aura. And basically when this memorial happened, the parents asked her, by presenting her with her sister's childhood diary, to try and find out what happened to Aura in Copenhagen. They asked her to go across because they needed Esther to also find some stuff out, but they had made a promise to Aura that they wouldn't divulge this information to Esther, because they, I believe, in my opinion, from the vibe that I got from the book, because it wasn't definitively said, that Aura didn't want Esther to lose faith in her or see her in a different light, and all that sort of stuff. So anyway, it is a wonderful book. It pulls at the heartstrings. It didn't make me cry, but it did make me feel the feels, and I felt really, sad for Aura, as well as feeling very sad for Esther having to carry that guilt and all that sort of stuff. But we go through this, like the Seven Skins is her basically going through the process of finding out about her sister and all that sort of stuff, and essentially also coming into her own as well, because there's been a lot of self-doubt and self-sabotage is probably the word I would use around Esther, like drinking a lot and all that sort of stuff. So it's a way for her to navigate her grief and also heal from that grief as well. So it is and as I said, it does have hectic topics in it and all that sort of stuff. So just be aware that is in here, especially if you've had a recent loss or have a trigger around that sort of topic. It is in here. It is not heavily discussed, and when it is discussed, it's done with compassion, and it is information that is needed, and all that sort of stuff. So just know it's not in depth or anything like that. It goes through her response to it and stuff like that. So, and as I said, there's a lot of guilt and there's also a lot of healing in this book as well. So, a lovely book. I'm glad that I read it. I love the folktale side of it around selkies. If you don't know what selkies are, there's folklore out there that women come on shore and they shed their skin so they can walk on land, and then they put their skins back on and go back into the ocean as seals or selkies. And and so there's a lot of folklore across many different traditions around this, and this is drawn on it here as well. And there's also ancestral stories in this as well. So and it is set in Tasmania as well as Copenhagen. So it's a great book. I really enjoyed it. I fell into the story. It's a quick read too. Like it's a chunky book. It's over 500 pages, but it read really quickly. And I did get the audiobook for it as well, ages and ages ago. So I was able to sink into under some blankets and sink into the story reading with my eyeballs. And then while I was working, I was able to continue it on and whatnot. So equally, both books both physical and the audiobook are great. So if you haven't read anything by Holly Ringland, I would start with The Lost Flowers of Alice's Heart. That is a heart-wrenching book as well. That will have you tearing up. So just make sure that when you do read Holly Ringland, that you do have a box of tissues handy, because she will make you feel the feels. And as I said, there is a bit of a trigger warning in this one for someone that has, either miscarried or stillbirth. This may be a trigger for you, but it's not in depth. But you're probably wondering what I have given this in a star rating. I have given this a 4.5 star rating. When I closed the book, I went, that was a 4-star read. But the more I think about it and how things were dealt with in the book and whatnot, it's definitely a 4.5. It's good, and it is just as good as, but not equally as good, do you know what I mean, as the first one that I read from this author, which was The Lost Flowers of Alice's Heart. So definitely both good books, and you should, and beautiful covers to boot, like absolutely stunning cover on this as well. So it's a lovely book to have on your shelf. And even the spine's quite beautiful as well. So you can see there, we've got that coming around, and then that's the back of the book there. So you can see that. All right, so you're probably wondering what the next book is I'm going to go on to. So for those that haven't seen my TBR video, I'm focusing on my TBR cart. And I've probably mentioned this already a couple of times in this vlog, because these all get filmed in segments and I forget what I've read, and it's a couple of days since the last time I filmed. So I am wanting to try and get as many books off the TBR. So on average, I'm reading a book every 2 days, and I missed a day of reading. So the next one, which was yesterday, I did start this, but I didn't do a lot of reading, as you can see. It's The Scarlet Letter. So this is one of the classics that I had on the top shelf. And the next one that I'm going to be reading after that, which probably won't be talked about in this vlog, is Mythos. But I will talk about that in the next vlog, because what I'm doing is finishing up the vlogs on the 7th. So my goal today is to get this book finished, talked about, and all the things. So there probably won't be too much check-in for this one. But this is The Scarlet Letter. There's movies out. The movie that I've seen of this has been the Demi Moore one. I've seen it years ago, but I never read the book. So I'm really excited to get to the book. I'm 23 pages in right now, and I'm enjoying it so far. And yeah, I'm looking forward to, like, I already know what the story is, and I'm looking forward to seeing how well the movie stayed together. I'll probably rewatch the movie if I can find it on a streaming service here. It's by Nathaniel Hawthorne. It was written in 1850. Yeah, so it was written quite some time ago. And when I seen this, I just love this cover for it. There's many other covers, but there's a whole series of these books, so I'm going to keep an eye out for them. We've got, I think there's Jane Eyre, there's Emma, there's Persuasion, A Midsummer's Night Dream, which I've never read. Then there's Sense and Sensibility, Pride and Prejudice, Romeo and Juliet, and Wuthering Heights, and of course The Scarlet Letter. These are being put out by Harper Teen, and I think this was in 2011 these came out. And it comes in, yeah, it's 2011 here in Australia, and these come out, this comes in, it's got a Midsummer's Night Dream in the back of this. So there's some questions in the back as well. Things you didn't know about Nathaniel Hawthorne. And then there's a quiz in the back of it, but it comes in at 300 pages. So I'm pretty happy that it's not an overly big book, and I do have the audio for this. I've got a lot of preparation to do today. So for those that don't know, The Scarlet Letter is about Hester Prynne's husband has been abroad for years, maybe lost at sea. Many men used the opportunity to try and charm her. There was only one Hester couldn't resist. When Hester's sin is discovered, the townspeople of Boston force her to wear a scarlet letter with as a stamp of shame. But Hester refuses to give up the name of the man that she loves. She'll protect him and their forbidden love to the very end. Nathaniel Hawthorne's masterpiece of dark romanticism is one of the most enduring stories about the price of unchecked passion. Beautifully presented for the modern teen audience, this is a must-have edition of the timeless classic. So it is like the OG of dark romanticism. So there you go. And I'm really looking forward to it. And I love this. Love defies the rules. So yeah, I don't remember Savannah reading this at school. I remember her reading Romeo and Juliet, The Killer Mockingbird, and a few other ones, but I don't remember her reading this one. So yeah, but I'm looking forward to getting into it. So I am going to check out now. When I come back, I'll give you my thoughts on it. And I'll probably, I will probably look at watching the movie as well, and see if I can't find that on the streaming services as well, because I wouldn't mind revisiting it. I remember enjoying it, and honestly, I watched that when with the Demi Moore one when it first came out. I didn't watch it at the theaters, so it was when it came out onto TV. Before, you know, streaming services was a thing, and all that sort of stuff. And I remember really enjoying it. So I'm looking forward to, as I said, reading this one and seeing if I can't find the movie for it and giving that another watch and give you my opinion about each one, because this, in the back of this book, it also has, seeing they are put forward for teens. Obviously, they know that the teens are going to go and watch the movie and all the rest of it. So they do have, as I said, they do have a quiz in here about the film or fiction. So yeah, so I'll probably answer some of those questions as well. All right, I'm going to get stuck into it. I hope that you're all having a lovely day. I know I'm going to have a lovely day reading. I am also going to be listening to this because I've got a lot of prep work to do today as well. So I will be back to give you my thoughts on the Scarlet Letter very soon. Hi everybody, and welcome back. All right, I have finally finished the Scarlet Letter. It took me a little bit longer than I expected to, but you know, life gets in the way and all the things. But I did get it finished and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Now, when I first started reading this, I didn't think I was going to enjoy it because it was a little bit lackluster with the opening introduction, where the author is explaining how the dynamics are sort of working and all that sort of stuff, and what's how we get to the prison door, which is a number one. And it's 50 pages of prologue that we have before we get to number one. And basically, it just basically talks this, that, and the other about the book. It doesn't give any spoilers or anything like that, or if it did, I missed them. So, which is probably a good thing. So when we open up the story, as I said, we've got Hester, who has a young baby, about 3 months old, and she has been put in prison for, and basically judgment has been cast on her because of adultery, because her husband is away at sea and all that sort of stuff, and she has obviously had an affair. And so they make her stand in on the scaffold for several hours so everybody in the community can see her, and she must wear this Scarlet Letter for pretty much forevermore. And so yeah, but basically it won't release who her lover is or anything like that. She's been sworn to secrecy. But the kicker is, like, I haven't really talked about this, but just the torment, and it's really hard to talk about this without giving a little bit of a spoiler away. But she is on the scaffold, and while she's on the scaffold, she sees her husband, she has presumed lost at sea, and he is now back in the community, but he's posing as a physician. And so this is how he gets close to Hester and basically makes her promise not to ever divulge who he is or anything like that, because he wants to seek revenge on her lover. And so, yeah, so that is the basis of the story. And of course, you know, we've got Hester, who is keeping a tight lip. She's not revealing who her lover is or anything like that. And with surprising pace as well, with the surprising pace in this, it moves very quickly through the chapters, and we're moving through the timeline very quickly as well. So we start off with Hester and her baby Pearl at 3 months old, and then slowly but surely we're moving through not slowly, but it moves through really quickly in the timeline, because the next time, you know, we're with Pearl, which is the baby, she's like 3 years old, and then basically we're looking at a 7-year period. So in the front of the book, it seems like it's moving really quickly, and then towards the end of the book, you realize that the pacing isn't that fast, that it actually has slowed down somewhat. And that is where the plot really comes to life, because we, as the reader, we learn about the physician, and we learn what his motives are as we're going along and all that sort of stuff. But we also learn that the reason for a particular character puts his hand on her heart and all that sort of stuff. We slowly but surely learn that. And there's all the things in between. You know, we've got the community, because you've got to remember this is in the Puritan Massachusetts, and so they're trying to take Pearl away from her, which Pearl is her child, because she is, you know, almost pixie-like, fairy-like. You know, she's a little bit of a scallywag, and, you know, she plays up a little bit and all that sort of stuff, but she's just a free spirit. And, you know, from my understanding, and even from just reading this book, the Puritans were very, very much party pooper people. And that, so they didn't really want anybody to be living, you know, their best life, I guess is the best way to say it. So that's the impression that I get when I read anything like that. So I am really glad that I have read this. Unfortunately, I can't watch the Demi Moore movie because it's on a streaming service that I don't have, and I really don't want to just buy a month's worth of streaming on Disney Plus and it's 20 just for one movie, because I don't really watch Disney Plus that often. So it'd be just basically for that movie, and it's $20 to buy if I wanted to get it on Prime Video, and there wasn't an option to rent it. So if it was an option to rent it, I probably would have got it, but there wasn't. But so I'm going to go and have a look and see what's on YouTube, because sometimes there's free movies on YouTube and stuff, and see if I can't find maybe an older version, because I've already watched the Demi Moore one. I vaguely remember it. As I said through this vlog, I didn't remember who the father of the baby was, who her lover was, and all the rest of it. But as I was reading along, I'm like, oh, that's right. It started to come back to me. So as I said, I'm really glad that I decided to pick this up. I love this cover, and I want to get more of the books that are on the back. In these covers, they're absolutely stunning. It has been somewhat edited a bit, just to take out some of the language of the day, I guess, they've taken out. But the one thing I did notice with this book, and I don't know if it was just me or anybody else, but if you've read this book, did you find that with the prologue and the conclusion in the book, it made it feel like it was a bit of a non-fiction vibe to it, even though it's fiction? So yeah, and I read up a little bit of information about the Scarlet Letter, and this almost destroyed Nathaniel Hawthorne for writing about this topic as well. So it's very interesting when you go and dig a little bit deeper into what happened around the release of the book. It was also the most published of the time. It was the biggest publication of a book as well in the United States. So yeah, so there's lots of little tidbits about it. It also has a few questions in the back, and then it's got a few questions in the back that can help you with it. It is definitely geared towards teenagers, those questions though. And there's also bits and pieces about the film adaptations and all that sort of stuff. But there have been a lot of adaptations of this, but probably the most well-known of our time is the Demi Moore one. There's ones that were developed in the 1970s. I think the earliest adaptation of this to film was in 1939. So there is a lot of history around this book and a lot of adaptations and whatnot. So I'm going to endeavour to try and find one. I'll probably include it in another vlog during July if I get to it. But I'll be very interested to see. I'll probably watch a couple over the month and just see what the adaptations are like and where they've taken a little bit of creative license and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I'm glad that I've read it. So I have actually given this a 4.5 star rating. only because I felt like the beginning was a little bit slow for me, and it was a little bit of a struggle for me to get into it, which then meant that it took me a little bit too long to read the book. So yeah, so I'm really happy that I've got it done now, and it's another one off my TBR cart. But that is the end of this week's vlog. Thank you so much for being with me today. I hope that you enjoyed my thoughts on the books that I have read this week. And as I said, you know, I'm trying to get the books off that TBR cart, and we're 3 down, and this is for the first week. So I'm on track at the moment. I'm actually probably a little bit behind. I finished reading this on the 8th as opposed to finished reading it on the 7th of July. So yeah, so I'm a little bit behind, but I've got a feeling that this weekend I'll catch up. And by the time you see this video, that weekend would have already passed. So you'll know in the second week. So the next book that I'm moving on to is Mythos by Stephen Fry. So you will get to see that in next week's vlog. But for now, that's it for me today. I hope that you're having a wonderful day no matter where you are. But before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the little bell icon beside it to all notifications. And then that way you're not going to miss out on any future uploads. And while you're down there, hop, skip and a jump over to the like button and give me a thumbs up as well, because that helps my channel grow. And leave me a comment also in the comments and let me know, have you read any of the books that I have read today, and were they a yay or nay from you? Obviously don't put spoilers, because some people may pick up the books and want to read them, and we don't want spoilers and all the rest of it. But as I said, that is it from me today. Have a wonderful day, everybody, and don't forget, keep turning those pages, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.